America and everywhere else. For some reason, people really enjoyed my Ojama video. So today we're gonna do Skull Servants. This is my other really fucking janky deck. It's not just any Skull Servants. 60 card Skull Servants that went 2 for 2 at locals. Would have gone 3 for 1 if I wasn't a dumbass. We'll go over that later. That is actually also why I'm in the laundry room in the basement. I've been down here for about 4 days now. Been surviving mostly on sourdough nugget pretzels and Arizona sweet iced tea. By the way, whoever makes these, contact me for brand deals. But back to the point. Today's deck profile, as you can see here on the beautiful white mat, is Skull Servants. See, we got, first off, let's start with these motherfuckers. We got 3 each of Skull Servant. We all know what he does. Nothing. 3 each of the Lady in White. While she's on the field, your Skull Servants can't be harmed. Well, really, all your level 3 or lower zombies can't be harmed. But, well, at least by spells, traps, and battle. But, you know what? You don't really run— No! Stay where you belong. They got a mind of their own. Anyway, she hunts. She protects all your skeletons. White Mare. If any of your skeletons get banished, he puts them back in the graveyard if they're Skull Servant or White Mare, or back on the field if they're White, the Lady in White, or King of the Skull Servants. Oh, by the way, Lady in White, 2200 defense. That's a shitload of defense! Are you kidding? This is a level 3 monster. But anyhows, then we got to the core of the deck. King of the Skull Servants. This motherfucker gains 1000 attack for every skeleton in your graveyard. So that means the Lady in White, she becomes Skull Servant. Skull Servant, he's always Skull Servant. White Mare, he becomes Skull Servant, and White Prince, who we'll talk about shortly, he is also becoming a Skull Servant in the grave. See all these monsters? See all these skeletons? That's 12,000 attack there. 12,000. You can get them up to 14,000 if you have your other 2 King of the Skull Servants in the grave. But anyway, before I go into the rest of the deck, let me tell you what White Prince does. If you get sent to the graveyard from anywhere, I mean anywhere, except for the banished pile, but that's not really sending them to the graveyard now, is it? He gets sent to the graveyard, you send the Lady in White and Skull Servant. Same deal as Ojama Magic, it has to be both of these. But these can go from your hand or deck to the graveyard. So if you draw them, sucks, because you got a dead draw, but you know what? We're still good. Another thing he can do, you can banish him and 2 other Skull Servants, including any of these, to special summon a King of the Skull Servant from your deck. Which means, if you draw any of these cards, it is a wasted draw, because all of them are useful from the deck, except for White Mare, but he's really a late game card. So what do we do to avoid drawing any of these motherfuckers? Of course we don't draw less, of course we don't run less of them, because that would mean King of the Skull Servants gets less powerful. No, instead, we run more of everything else, which is why we have a 60 motherfucking card Skull Servant deck. Why am I so angry about this? Because I got Magic Cylindered with an 8,000 attack King of the Skull Servant, when I could have thrown out a Lady in White and protected myself and won the game. But anyway, the whole point of this deck is to put White Prince into the grave and then special summon King of the Skull Servants, or normal summon him, or summon him from anywhere, I don't care. Main deck. First off, this guy doesn't fit in with the rest of the engines. Mathematician. We all know what he does. Send a level 4 or lower monster from the deck to the graveyard. If he's destroyed by battle, draw a card. Really fucking good card. You see, he's right here on his own. Nobody likes him, but I love him. Took me way too long to get all 3 of those, and now he's gonna get a reprint. Thanks, Obama. We run 2 Lone Fire Blossoms. Why? We also run 3 Mystic Tomatoes. We run 3 Mystic Tomatoes because he's the avant-garde searcher of America. Actually, that statement doesn't make sense, but you know what? He still searches for practically everything in your fucking deck. See this flowchart I made? See this flowchart I made? See this flowchart I made? He searches for everything, including Armageddon Knight. Little known fact, actually it's a pretty well known fact, no matter how he's summoned, he will send a dark monster from the deck to the graveyard. Wight Prince. That means he will send 3 dark monsters from the deck to the graveyard. Wight Prince. And that means, if you normal summon this guy, you got a 3000 attack King of the Skull Servants. How do we get King of the Skull Servants out of a 60-card deck? Besides, of course, using Wight Prince, which lowers how many skeletons are in your deck, which lowers how much attack from your graveyard, which lowers how much attack your king has. 3 Pyramid Turtle. This guy can search for any zombie in this deck, including itself, including all of the other bullshit that we run, including King of the Skull Servants. Well, you can't search for Lady in White, but you don't want to special summon her from the deck because you want to be able to pitch her and a Skull Servant from your deck using Wight Prince. Up next, we have Goblin Zombie. Puts any zombie you need into your hand just by it being sent from the I can't talk. Just by being sent from the field to the graveyard. Any zombie, of course, with I don't have my glasses. 1200 or less defense. Next, we have the MVP of the universe. 3 Unizombies. See? It's Coach Z and Bubs. It's Coach Z and Bubs, see? Anyway. It's Coach Z and Bubs. It's Coach Z and Bubs. So, this is a very new card. You discard... First off, he can raise his level by... He can raise any monster's level by 1. By sending a card from the hand to the graveyard, or sending a zombie from the deck to the graveyard. Wight Prince! Wight Prince! Wight Prince! And it also works really well for a rank 4 engine, and also for disrupting your opponent's Xyz engines. Because he can raise their level by 1 too, now can he, motherfucker? And he can send from the hand and the deck to the graveyard in the same turn. Can't send from the deck to the graveyard more than once per turn, even if you have multiple. Up next, we have 3 Mizuki. He's the start of this rank 4 zombie engine. I really need another green named Mizuki. But you know what? I'm totally okay with that. Everyone knows what Mizuki does. Banish him, special summon a zombie from your grave. Everyone knows what Zombie Master does, too. Discard a monster, special summon a zombie monster from your grave. These guys make rank 4s like it's going out of style. And as you can see, almost every monster in this engine is a level 4, which means we make rank 4s like it's going out of style. But a lot of these monsters really need to be normal summoned, which is why we run 3 double summons. We would run Ultimate Offering if that was still legal, but it's not, so we don't. Next, 3 Pot of Duality. Yes, I know this is a 60-card deck, but we still need to be able to pick what we draw. And like I mentioned, a lot of this is about normal summoning and settings, so we don't have to special summon every turn. Up next, Creeping Darkness. Banish 2 dark monsters from your graveyard, add a level 4 dark monster to your hand. If only we had level 4 dark monsters! But really, this is a really clutch MVP card. Up next, 3 Book of Life. It's essentially Monster Reborn, plus you banish a monster from your opponent's graveyard. But, like this, you need to banish and summon. If you can't do one or the other, you need to do both. Which means it's not a very good first turn use card, but it is a great anytime after first turn. Boojins hate this. Boojins hate this. Necros hate this. Everyone hates this. Ritual Beasts don't care. Next, we have Rhoda of the Army. 3 of them. 3 Rhodas of the Army. Armageddon Knight. Armageddon out of here. Up next, we have our 5 power cards. These are 5 limited cards. That, of course, we only run 1 of. Raigeki, I don't own one. Coming out in PLGD 2. Allure of Darkness, it's coming in the mail. 1 for 1. Look at all these level 1s. Burial from a Different Dimension. Let me just say a play. You take your Wight Prince. Where the hell are my Wight Princes? You take your Wight Prince, banish it and 2 other Skull Servants, then you play Burial from a Different Dimension. You go -1 to summon a really strong beater. And then Foolish Burial, because it's just a damn good card in any deck, especially a deck that loves to send monsters to the graveyard. So we got 30 seconds left. Let me just go over the extra deck. Very little explanation. Exiton Knight, Baby Tyragon, Gaga Cowboy, Utopia Roots, Steel Swarm Roach, Ghost Trick Dullahan, Slacker Magician, Wind Up Zen Mains, Photon Papal Operative, gonna replace him with Lightning Chidori, Bujinki Amaterasu, Silent Honor Arc. Number 50 Black Ship of Corn. I know people don't like it, but I love him. Castell and Lavalval. And that's it. Merry Christmas. Oh, by the way, I'm gonna get another Lavalval. Love you. Bye.